No matter what the Switch 2 is, I full-heartedly believe the Steam Deck will be superior. Let's explain why. Now, the reason why I think the Steam Deck will forever be superior compared to a Switch or even that of a Switch 2 is because the Steam Deck just has so much going for it. The Steam Deck is probably everything I've ever wanted in a portable console. I can play AAA games on the go with good frame rate and good graphics. I can play games like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I can play games like Elden Ring, Spider-Man on the go. But like all great things, the Steam Deck does have its cons though. And it's quite a few of them that are pretty big, I'm not gonna lie. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the pros and cons of a Steam Deck and why I feel like Nintendo would never even come close to what the Steam Deck has. So the first pro I want to talk about with the Steam Deck is something I know Nintendo would never ever do, because this is kind of a PC exclusive, is mods. Yes, you can get mods on your Steam Deck. I got mods for Devil May Cry 5, which runs beautifully on the Steam Deck, by the way. You can get mods for Skyrim, Fallout, Witcher 3, all on the Steam Deck, all portably, all on the go. That is something that is pretty crazy to me, a portable console that has mods. That's something I know Nintendo would never do, ever. That's kind of a PC exclusive, which makes the Steam Deck even greater because it is a portable PC. The downside about this is you kind of need to download the mods by yourself and figure out what folder to put it in by yourself, because no one really does Linux type videos about games. They usually all have like a Windows PC. So you kind of gotta have to figure out where to put it yourself and where does the mod go. But once you do one game, they're kind of all similar. So that's kind of only the really downside. But besides that, like, getting mods on a portable console is pretty insane. Pro number 2, which is also kind of a PC exclusive, emulation. You could emulate about damn near any game on the planet on your Steam Deck. Of course, if you own it, you have to own the game. That's the law.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
But you can play PS1 games, PS2 games, GameCube games, PS3 games, Wii U games, Wii games, the list goes on and on and on. This thing is an emulation monster, and with the inclusion of EmuDeck, it's an even bigger beast. It makes life so much easier. It puts everything in one folder. It's so simple and so easy to get emulation on your Steam Deck. That's something Nintendo would never do. Or if they put their old games, like the rest of the world has been asking, they tag it under a streaming service.
Lame! So lame!
And it's not even yours, it's streamed. So, I mean, I never bought that thing. So I'm not too sure if you can even go outside and play like Ocarina of Time with Nintendo online. I really don't understand how that works. But on my Steam Deck, I know I can play Ocarina of Time 3DS version for 4 hours on the go wherever I go. So Steam Deck, another pro. Pro number 3 is what I said earlier. You can play AAA games on the go portably for an hour 30 or 2 hours. You can play Red Dead Redemption 2, Witcher 3. You can play Cyberpunk. You know, you can also even play Breath of the Wild on a Steam Deck at 50 frames with also mods. It's like a 3-in-1 pack. The pros I said earlier: pro number 1, mods; pro number 2, emulation; and pro number 3, AAA game. You can play that all on the go. The only downside about playing AAA games on a Steam Deck is the battery life doesn't last that long. Of course, you're playing a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, you're not going to play for 6 hours straight on a portable device. So it usually lasts up to an hour 30 to 2 hours. And of course, another downside is if you want to hit that 40, 50, 60 frame mark, you're going to have to nail the quality down. In some games, you have to nail the quality down a lot in order to get at least 40 to 50 frames pretty consistently. So that's another downside, because you don't want your game looking like mud. But all in all, the fact that I can play games like Final Fantasy VII Remake on the go at 40 to 50 frames pretty consistently for 2 hours is insane to me. And the last pro that I want to talk about is Linux. Now, I don't know anything about Linux myself. All I know is it gives you the freedom to do basically whatever you want, but you just have to know how. So if I wanted to mess with the software of a game or do something with the Steam Deck just in general, Linux can do that, but you have to Google how if you don't know how. A bunch of console commands, a bunch of technical stuff that I really don't know how to do. But it's a pro and con because it lets you do whatever you want with it. Con is, if you don't know how to do it, it's going to be pretty annoying. Now, I'm going to start with the cons list. And I'm going to start with the biggest downside on the Steam Deck. The biggest downside for me is sometimes this shit don't work. You can literally play your Steam Deck, go to sleep, wake up the next day, and it won't turn on. You charged it last night, you were playing perfectly fine, and sometimes it just won't turn on. Or you could be playing a game perfectly fine, and the next day you try to boot up that same game and it won't work. No update for the game. It just won't work. And you're just like,
excuse me, what the actual fuck?
bro, what happened? I was asleep for 6 hours. What happened in those 6 hours? The way to solve this problem most of the time is restarting your Steam Deck over and over until it works. At least for me, or Googling it and some dude on Reddit knows all the answers. But yes, that is one of the biggest downsides for the Steam Deck. Sometimes it just doesn't work. It's super annoying. And the second con also kind of falls under the sometimes it don't work is I bought a Steam Deck dock. Mind you, an official Steam Deck dock. Yes, $90. And sometimes this shit don't work. It could be working fine one day and the next day it won't turn on, Steam Deck won't turn on, dock won't work. I plug it in, plug it out, put the HDMI in. Nothing works sometimes. You gotta keep restarting your Steam Deck over and over because the dock sometimes just does not work. And last but not least, one of the downsides is some games are unsupported or not optimized for PC or the Steam Deck itself. And you have to do research to see if the game even runs well on the Steam Deck. There'll be games that run on PC perfectly fine, and you'll have it in your Steam library, but it's not optimized or verified for Steam Deck, so it doesn't work, and that's pretty unfortunate because there are a lot of nice games that could be played portably and be very fun, but sometimes it's just not Steam Deck verified. And yes, sometimes you have to do research to see if the game runs well. It could say Steam Deck verified, and then you buy it and it does not work. And you have to do your research, check what Proton works for the game, check what some dude on Reddit said, check all this bullshit to see if the game works and the game you just purchased works. So if you're going to buy a game for your Steam Deck, please do your research on it. Please YouTube if Last of Us Remake Part 1 works on Steam Deck, if it runs well. It does not. I can answer that question for you. It does not work well at all. The game looks like mud and it runs at 30. But this is besides the point. Do your research before you buy Steam Deck games. It can say verified. It can even say not verified and it'll run well. So you just have to do your research. You have to see what Proton works well. You have to see what graphics work well. So all in all, this is the reason why I think the Steam Deck will remain superior no matter what Nintendo does for a Switch 2. Because I don't see Nintendo doing any of the stuff I just mentioned. I can't see them topping that. Oh yeah, and another pro, you can play music in the back while you're playing games. You can have Spotify running in the back while you're playing Devil May Cry or something. Like, this is stuff that Nintendo won't do. So it's like stuff like this, like the convenient stuff that Steam Deck has that I know Nintendo would never do for their next console. Plain and simple. Like the freedom you have on the Steam Deck, the mods, the emulation, the games you can play. But even if a Switch 2 was as powerful as a PS4 Pro or even a PS5, I still don't think it'll be better than Steam Deck just because the Steam Deck has so much stuff you can do with it. So much freedom you have with the Steam Deck that gives you the opportunity to get all this stuff that Nintendo would never do. And if I'm being real, at the end of the day, Valve is a way better company than Nintendo. Steam always has sales, and they're good sales, by the way. You can get most of the games for a good price. Nintendo, Breath of the Wild to this day is still $60, and if it's on sale, it's $50. So let's be for real here. Come on. So I honestly just think at the end of the day, Steam Deck will be better than the Switch 2.